Hello and welcome to another audio analysis. In today's video we're delving into the track Heavy is the Crown by the American rock band Linkin Park in collaboration with Riot Games and League of Legends. This song will feature on the band's upcoming album From Zero. It's the second track we've got to hear from it. This song will also serve as the official anthem for the 2024 League of Legends World Championship, and it's something that Riot Games have done quite heavily in the past, going all the way back to I think it was Season 3 when they worked with Imagine Dragons on Warriors, and since then they've continued to provide some of these anthems, working with some of these really big names, people such as Mako, the Glitch Mob, also working with Chrissy Costanza, Against the Current, and now they add Linkin Park to that repertoire of artists that have provided some essential anthems for many of their world championships. And they've also worked with some other really interesting projects as well in terms of their music. They've got their Pentakill albums, they've also got some of the other things that they've worked on, including Arcane, their Netflix series, which saw a real whole host of incredible names such as Woodkid, Sting, and they've also announced many more names that will be contributing to the final season of that coming up. Some really interesting names on there as well. So their musical collaborations have in the past been very, very strong, and it's great to see them continuing to work with some very big names. So will this latest release see the band achieving the rank of challenger, or will they simply be stuck in bronze? Let's take a look at exactly how it sounds.
One knock at the door and then we both know how the story ends. You can't win if your white flag's out when the war begins. Aiming so high but swinging so low, trying to catch fire but feeling so cold. Hold it inside and hope it won't show. I'm saying it's not, but inside I know today's gonna be the day you notice, 'cause I'm tired of explaining what the joke is. This is what you asked for. Heavy is the crowd, fire in the sunrise, ashes raining down. Try to hold it in, but it keeps bleeding out. This is what you asked for. Heavy is the crowd.
Okay, one thing I really do love is the sound we're getting from this very nostalgic Linkin Park sound. It's kind of almost halfway between something like Numb Encore and something like Bleed It Out from their Minutes to Midnight album. It's kind of jammed right in between those eras, and we really get that kind of idea coming through off that first verse from Mike Shinoda. It's pouring in, you're laid on the floor. Again, that rap style that's really coming back, but it was very proficient on songs such like Bleed Out. And then I like that little pre-chorus as well, bringing Emily in to then provide the chorus. I love the way they kind of almost tag each other in to really show that, just kind of the way they blend that together. And it's something that often we did see on Minutes to Midnight, really Chester sort of tagging in after those rap sections, so really reliving something that was very prominent in that part of the band's discography. And a really fitting title for the track as well, Heavy is the Crown. And we can see this is something that Riot Games love to do, or have done over recent years, is certainly just incorporate lots of the players that will be attending the World Championship in many of their videos, and really kind of tying in the visuals with some of the iconic characters such as Caps on the Blank. We've also got some of the other characters like Zaya being represented here, Viego potentially as well, Nautilus, and really highlighting some of the champions that the players are so very well known for. So I love the way they do that, and they've done it a lot of the time in their previous Worlds releases. And it's actually quite funny because actually it's interesting they've got SKT here, who are the current world champions, because they're only actually one game away from not making it to the World Championship. So this would have had to be a very different video if they hadn't actually have made it and qualified, so wouldn't have that chance to defend their crown. So they kind of, I bet they were praying that this actually did come into effect, where they would be re-attending the World Championship. They certainly are. But I also love as well how we've got the 4 players, but we haven't actually seen Faker yet, who's considered to be one of the greatest players of all time. He's kind of the crown jewel of League of Legends. So not seen him in the video yet, whether he'll make an appearance or not. I'd imagine so, because of his iconic stature. But I like how it's kind of that idea of them wearing the crown, being the world champions, having that title to defend, and the challenges, the battles they have to face to actually do that. You can't win if your white flag's out when the war begins. And that's actually a really interesting lyric, because it goes back to the fact that they never nearly made it. They could have effectively had to throw in the towel before the war actually began, before the World Championship started. So I actually really like that lyric. It kind of fits in with the story that we have seen. Aiming so high but swinging so low. So really trying to aim for that top step but not quite able to make it. And just lots of these ideas that we're going to see really coming to the rest of the track as well. This idea of you asked for this crown, you achieved that top step, you now done it because you earned it, but it's kind of something you aim towards. So that fire in the sunrise, ashes raining down, the tides of battle, effectively, the flames they're going to spread on the battlefield. And this is something they do on a lot of the World Championship tracks, is really kind of have this emphasis of this battle. Warriors, rise, phoenix, lots of these ideas of kind of rebirth, coming back and challenging or rising to the occasion. And this is another track that really puts a bit of a different spin on that by really focusing on the fact that you've got this crown, you've earned it, and now you've got to kind of stop those people that are going to try and usurp you and take that crown from you.
Turn to run, now look what it's become. Outnumbered 10 to 1. Back then should've bit your tongue, cause there's no turning back. This path once it's begun, you're already on that list. Say you don't want what you can't resist. Waving that sword when the pen won't miss. Watch it all falling apart like this.
This is what you asked for. Heavy is the crowd. Fire in the sunrise. Ashes raining down. Try to hold it in, but it keeps bleeding out. This is what you asked for. Heavy is the crowd.
Today's gonna be the day you notice, 'cause I'm tired of explaining what the truth is.
This is what you asked for. This is what you asked for. This is what you asked for. Heavy is the crowd. Fire in the sunrise. Ashes raining down. Try to hold it in, but it keeps bleeding out. This is what you asked for. Heavy is the crowd. Heavy is the crowd. Heavy is the crowd.
Okay, definitely a very interesting track. I really do feel like it was great to see more of those programmed elements really coming in to the back of the mix. It felt very much like it wasn't really there on the previous single they did release from this upcoming album, but I really love some of the elements they did include. I really love that extended scream coming from Emily, really showing what she is capable of within this band. And like, it goes back to what many people have been saying, while she's not going to replicate Chester exactly, I love the fact she's putting her own spin on so many of the elements that they are including, and it really just kind of reaffirms that kind of idea of that bleed it out track, with many of the lyrics about blood coming in and bleeding out and trying to keep it all inside, and that extended scream at the end as well, something that we saw Chester do towards the later stages of Bleed It Out, really throw those heavier screams in. So I really love the way they're kind of taking some old styles and really trying to reimagine them and really kind of fit her into these different styles that the band did explore. And I think it really fits in going back to this kind of nostalgic mid-2000s sound that they really seem to be focusing on so far with this upcoming album. And I just love the way that so many of the lyrics do reference the idea of the crown. It fits in very well with the theme of the World Championships, and also kind of as well with the actual band themselves. The fact that heavy is the crown that Chester wore that made him the king of what he was doing, is almost so difficult to kind of take away from him, and she's got to kind of live up to that challenge, Emily, of trying to do that in a certain way. So I kind of feel like it's a very fitting time with the situation that has unfolded, of really just kind of fitting in with the thematically with the game, but also with the band themselves, how they look to continue to reaffirm themselves as the kings of the new metal and rock genre and show why they are one of the biggest bands in the world. So really fitting on both sides of the coin, which I think is great to see, and a great choice of collaboration with the themes that we do see running throughout the track. And I also really like, as well, as we do see in a lot of Mike's verses, the idea of being outnumbered 10 to 1 back, then you should have beat it on, because there's no turning back this path once it's begun. So again, kind of tying into the band, they've kind of chosen their path, they've chosen their direction that they're going. No matter how many times they may feel outnumbered by the negativity, they're not turning back. They're going to continue to stride their way forward. They're not going to resist. They're going to kind of make sure that they don't miss. They're not going to allow everything to fall apart. So I love how we've got in these verses, just in referencing on maybe the point that they're not going to turn around, despite all the fire and the ash and all the flames that have risen up over recent situations. So really, really fitting in terms of the track. Really gives off that anthemic feel. The only thing I maybe didn't like in terms of the relation to the League of Legends side of things, it did feel like it took away from some of the kind of the players, certainly, that are featured in the video, because the Linkin Park was so heavily included in the video, which is great to see them kind of getting their own animated versions. But certainly in the past, with like Imagine Dragons, who've also featured in some of the videos, they had a very minimal actual kind of visual role. It was more that musical aspect which really allowed the players to shine through, whereas with this, there was so much Linkin Park in it that it felt more like a 50-50. So I mean, it is a collaboration on both ends, but so I do feel it took a little bit away from some of the players and kind of flicking between the two so consistently. But in terms of the song, really just builds that energy up, really provides that strong crescendo, that strong anthem. And it'd be interesting to see if they do actually end up playing this in the World Championship final. That'd be great to see them taken to the stage of that event. Certainly draw a good number of fans in, but certainly a very impressive track. Really just kind of say fitting for both sides of what it's intended to do for the band, for the game. And it's just really great to see them working in collaboration with Riot Games to provide a very powerful and a very strong world's anthem. So there we have it, Linkin Park giving us our second taste of what we'll be featuring on their upcoming album From Zero, and what a way to make a comeback with that first single and then bouncing in with a collaboration with such a big collaborator to really just kind of get more people on board, to really build something up and continue to show what they're capable of, and especially for Emily as well, bringing in these extended screams, really just continuing to build on what her proficiency is as a vocalist, and really show why she was the correct choice for the band to take going into their future. And I can't wait to hear more and more from this album, but these first two singles have certainly got me hooked, and I really do hope to see them taking this song to the world final stage. It would be absolutely incredible to see that live performance on a stage. I know they have recently actually performed this in Hamburg, so I'd imagine they're getting ready for that potential build-up. But I really would love to know your thoughts about this track in the comments section below. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you really enjoy the collaboration, or do you think it's a little bit over the top? Whatever your thoughts, please do feel free to let me know. Also, if you would like to see more Linkin Park content, I have covered more of their music in previous videos, so you can find the link to those videos in the description of this one. And if you'd like to see more content like this overall, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next audio analysis.